Hello everyone, my name is VoidDoctor and welcome back to another episode on the InfinityCraft server. And today we begin this episode in front of the castle project. And it's kind of a bittersweet moment because this is the last episode of castle building. At least for now. We might continue with the underground later, but for now this is the last episode. And of course we're ending with a bang. We're finishing up the Great Hall. So I have a really cool idea for the Great Hall, but just to sort of explain it really quick, I want to have a sort of eating hall down here, and then upstairs I want to have like quarters for, you know, like the lord or whoever lives in the castle, and then down here, probably on a little, you know, like a little staircase maybe or something that's like, you know, we dig here. I want to have an entrance down to the underground section of the castle, like the dungeons or something like that, you know, some like cool little detail where it's, you know, you kind of have to look around for a little bit to find it. But before we can do any sort of crazy decorating, you know, eating hall, anything like that, we have to get a floor in here. We have to get a floor in here because right now the floor is just grass, and I don't think anyone would want to be eating on just grass. So we gotta get a floor in here, and I have a pretty simple design in mind, but it is going to involve me having to go chop down some oak trees and dark oak trees. So I gotta go do that before we get building the floor. And I don't even, fun fact about me, I hate farming dark oak trees so much that I just go deep into this dark oak forest where no one will ever go unless they're actually trying to, you know, intentionally find the cut down trees. And I just cut down trees because no one will ever know. And it saves me so much time because I don't like having to grow dark oak trees. This is just leftover birch from building the custom tree over there. But I don't like having to grow dark oak trees, and I think it's super inefficient having to cut them down, cut them down, regrow them, cut them down, regrow them. I mean, it's a little bit more, you know, it has a bit better value when you're talking about giant spruce trees because they have so much wood, but dark oak trees give you they give you like no wood. So it's pretty much pointless to, you know, actually farm them. Oak trees you have to because oak trees it makes a bit more sense to. Dark oak trees, they're just so hard to work in. It just doesn't make sense to make a farm out of them. You know, like, or just even just a simple manual farm like this. You just gotta chop them down in a forest somewhere. And unfortunately, this forest is fairly small, which means I have to go really find some spots to chop down dark oaks if I actually want to chop them down. Did anyone else just realize that these flowers existed? Like, I honestly had no clue that these flowers were in the game. This is kind of embarrassing. I've been playing this game since 2012 and I still didn't know that these flowers existed. This is crazy. Well, I like the look of them anyway, so I'm going to put them away in storage. Alright, so I've done some tree chopping, and I've gotten some oak, some dark oak, and I already had the spruce, so that didn't require any tree chopping. But now, I think it's time that we get the floor started. So, the first thing I have to do is obviously remove the grass right here, so let me do that. And these two oak logs here, or these two spruce logs, sorry, not oak, are just kind of a guide for what I want to do after we've got the floor started, or done, after we've got the floor done. Alright, so my concept for this floor design is going to be something like this. So you kind of have to imagine that these exist, and then sort of like this. Hold on, does that math work out? Nope. Like that. Like that. Just sort of having these diagonal lines of oak and dark oak, and then, you know, more dark oak, so like this. Does that work out? Yes, it does. Alright, and then all you have to do is just strip the logs to provide just sort of a cleaner end texture so it doesn't look, you know, very messy. And then, so yeah, once you've gotten them all stripped and gotten all the lines, you know, gotten all the diagonal lines done, it should look like a pretty cohesive floor, kind of like a, I don't know, it's just a very nice pattern, to at least for my eyes. So that's what I'm going to kind of do for the whole floor here. Alright, so I'm actually really happy with how this floor design has come together, and I think it just sort of draws your eyes towards the ground because it's so contrasty. So I think if we can put a lot of things sort of close to the floor, you know, like tables and things, we can definitely, you know, use that to our advantage, sort of bringing people's eyes towards the floor and not so much towards, you know, they're just directly in front of them. It kind of pulls their eyes towards where the bulk of the interior is going to be, which is definitely going to be on the floor. So I think we can definitely take advantage of this. And yes, I just sort of spammed torches in random spots. It doesn't look so great right now. But my idea with these sort of pillars is we build them up. Build them up to like 7 blocks probably. And then we can connect them. Yeah, that's not tall enough. There we go. And then we can connect them using like arches. And then we'll have the ceiling on top of them, and it'll sort of look like rafters, but you know, more ornate rafters, I guess, because I think that having just standard rafters in here would make it look a lot more rustic than I want it to. I want it to look like a very grand hall, and so having these large sort of palace style arches in here, you know, very curved arches, and especially in a block game, makes this whole place feel very sophisticated. And having them all be connected together like this just sort of increases how sophisticated it feels in here. Sort of like this, you know, you're sitting in here and you're like, you look up and you just see these arches and you're like, whoa, this place is really well done. Like, this place is very fancy. And then if we have arches connecting all the pillars, and then also probably connecting the pillars to the back wall, we could definitely do something cool with this. Actually, if we moved this whole set of pillars 1 block this way, then we could have pillars back here and connect them, make it make a bit more sense. Although that would block the banners, but I think that would probably be worth it. So yeah, I think I'm gonna move this whole set of arches this way and sort of allow room for another pillar here, because if we put one here right now, it would be 2 blocks apart, and that wouldn't fit in. So we're gonna move this back towards the door 1 block, and hopefully that should allow a bit more room for the pillars to be back here. And then we can always just have the banners sort of split up. So if we wanted to do something like this, and then we could just grab the banners and like throw them right here. That could probably work. So yeah, I think we're gonna work with this. Alright, so I'm actually really happy with how these little rafters have come together, and I think we could probably just put some torches on them, you know, make them look a bit better. In the future, we can definitely do this a bit better, but right now, just throw the torches down on the rafters. Should look pretty fine. There we go. Yeah, that definitely lights up the room a bit better, and it looks nicer. So then now I'm not going to go insane looking at just torch spam. So I think the next thing we obviously have to do is get some sort of ceiling situated in here, because I want to know how much height I have to work with. So, I mean, I already know how much height I have to work with, but like I want a sense of sort of the actual upper limit of the ceiling, because those rafters aren't the upper limit. I forgot to bring spruce planks. Gosh darn it. Here we go. Let's grab some of those. Gonna use spruce planks, not spruce slabs. I know spruce slabs would make slightly more sense since it's more cost effective, but spruce slabs wouldn't connect to the rafters properly, so just laying down some planks here. Let's see how this looks. I mean, we can always make these taller if it doesn't look great, so... Oh, yeah, I like how that looks. Yeah, definitely. So that's what we'll use. We'll use the spruce planks for the second floor, and obviously that means they'll be the quarters, or the floor for the quarters of whoever owns the castle, the lord. I don't exactly know who owns the castle. Hold on, let's see what dark oak planks look like, just for a little experiment. Yeah, I just think the dark oak planks really blend in with this, the dark oak, you know, the dark oak beams and things too well. So we're gonna use the spruce because it contrasts a bit better with the dark oak, and we could probably do something to disguise this little spruce edge here. I mean, we could always just extend it a bit further out. That'd probably actually do wonders. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do, I guess. I didn't realize it, but we could have just done this. We could have maybe actually, hold on, how does this look? We could have just done this, made some like makeshift pillars here. Well, let's go up here really quick and place this log facing the right direction. We could have just made some sort of not hanging, but you know, like suspended spruce pillars, and kind of completed these arches here. And this looks so much better. Yeah. Yeah, this definitely looks a lot better, and we can kind of disguise the ceiling. Maybe we could even have a bit of the ceiling sort of kind of popping out here, or not popping out, like having a hole in the ceiling here, and you can sort of see up towards the roof, and people, there's like a little balcony here for, I don't know, but we'll see how that looks. You know, I just realized I made a bit of a miscalculation here. Forgot about clearing the door, so we actually have to clear the massive arch that is, you know, the doorway, and I think we can probably get away with shortening it by a little bit to make room for ceilings in the, you know, the second floor. I think we could probably get away with shortening it just a tad. But oh, whoops! I was trying to eat. But it's it's a little bit concerning that I didn't think about the clearance for the door. Oh my! So yeah, I'm gonna actually have to extend the entire archway system just to clear the door. So I'll get back to you guys with the progress update once I've done that, because it's gonna take like 20 minutes to take this whole thing down. Alright, so I'm actually extremely happy that I realized that, because this place looks so much cooler with the really high arches. Like, when you're coming in from in here, you're like, whoa, this is a very large room. And it's going to look slightly smaller once we don't have these extremely lofty ceilings up here, but I think we could potentially keep this area the same. I don't know, because I don't actually think this is enough room for all the bedrooms and stuff that I want to put up here, so I think we're probably going to have to close this area off too. But still, this area still looks so cool. Alright, so this is feeling extremely grand in here. You walk in through the massive doors, and you're immediately greeted... There's a spider somewhere in here. I don't know where, but there is a spider somewhere in here. And you're immediately greeted with these lofty arches and just very grand architecture in general. So I think the next step is obviously going to be adding in some tables and benches and things in here for people to sit down at, and then also probably like a like a larger table maybe right here for, maybe not a larger table, but just like a more exclusive table for whoever, you know, again, whoever owns the castle to sit at. Something like, just pretend this is a table, you know, to sit at here, sort of, if they had an announcement or something, you know, kind of like, just, if it was a throne room, this is where the throne would be, but this is obviously not a throne room, this is like a dining hall, so I think we're going to get this whole place situated with some tables and some benches and things. Alright, so as silly as this little table design looks, I think this is the best we're going to be able to do here, because it's short enough so that it doesn't look absolutely crazy tall, but it's also still got a tad bit of separation from the benches, maybe like this actually. It still looks very thin, like a very thin table, but I think this is about the best we can do, because it's still got a tad bit of separation, so you can see that the benches and the table aren't just one thing. So yeah, I think this is probably the best we're going to be able to do, and it's actually, now that I've made this slight modification, it's just one block tall now. Alright, so I am really happy with how the Great Hall is coming together, and I think the last thing I'd like to do is just throw in a few Minecraft paintings in the back here. So I'm just going to grab a few paintings, to be honest. And obviously we have to throw in the banners when we get more of them, but right now we just have 3, so I think what we can do is like throw some on the pillars and yeah, that kind of stuff. So I think what we can do is throw in the banners, something like this. Yeah, that looks cool. And then as soon as we get more banners, we can throw them in between those. But right now, those look pretty cool. And also, I put in the paintings, and they're basically just a checkerboard pattern. Like, or not, they're diagonal to each other, is what I was trying to say. So, like, you know, the Rick Astley is diagonal to Rick Astley. And, okay, that was a terrible joke, but that Rick Astley is diagonal to Rick Astley. And this man thing is diagonal to that man thing. I honestly have no clue what this is. Someone please tell me what this is. But the final thing that I'd like to do with the bottom floor of the Great Hall, or with the bottom floor of, I guess this is not the Great Hall anymore. I guess it's more of a keep, since it's not just a Great Hall. But the last thing that I'd like to do with the Great Hall is just throw down some like item frames with maybe some chicken and stuff on them, and maybe some you know, like flower pots to simulate like mugs. Yeah, something like this. Just, you know, some chicken, steak lying on the item frames. And the item frames sort of look like plates, like Minecraft plates, obviously, so they're square. And then just some flower pots as mugs. And then whoever's sitting here, probably the Lord and whoever he chooses to you know, whoever the Lord chooses to have as their spouse. Gender neutral figures. Everyone in this courtroom is gender neutral here. But I think that the addition of the flower pot specifically is just pretty cool. I think flower pots in general just act as really good mugs, like I've said in past episodes, and I also just think that the item frames with the chicken in them is pretty funny. Maybe we can flip this one around so whoever's sitting here has something to eat too. And this is probably just an average day here. There's probably not some massive feast going on. There's no, you know, there's not much going on. There's probably just a few people having a meal here. I'd assume that if there was a larger feast, there would be a lot more decorations in here and things. So yeah, it's probably just an average meal here. Although it's a very, very, very well cooked average meal. Steak, chicken, something. I don't know. What is? I don't know. Maybe we can throw down these last couple mugs here. Yeah, it looks good. And so I think the next thing to do is just work on the upstairs, like the living quarters of the Lord and whoever they choose to have as their spouse. And I think to actually get up to the second floor, we're going to take out this pillar here. I know this, architecturally wouldn't make sense, but just to sort of make this feel a bit more realistic, we're going to take out the support structures here and make a little staircase upwards. Something a bit more sophisticated than a ladder. And I have given little dividing walls here. So this room, I'd imagine just being like a stairwell. So we can kind of just have a, it's becoming quite a cramped space in the Great Hall, but it's what I could work with in this castle. Like when in the planning phases, I knew this Great Hall was going to be cramped, and I really couldn't figure out any way to make it less cramped. So it's we're a little bit tight on space here, but I'm gonna make it work. Just make a little staircase. Not enough room. This is a very unfortunate circumstance to be in right now. You know, I just did not like how that looked, so I just replaced the staircase with the pillars again. And I think we can just live without having the realism of being able to get up there and kind of just imagining that there's some way you can get up there, because it just did not look good having the, oh my god. It just didn't look good having the staircase sort of intruding on the activities that were going on down here. So I think we can still build up there, but I don't think we're going to have much of a way to get up there unless in the future I add on like we tack on some sort of little ladder tower or something here. But otherwise I don't see there being really any reasonable way to get up to the second floor. So right now it's just going to kind of be it's going to be magic teleportation between the floors. Alright, so I'm actually really happy with how these two beds have come together, these two four-posters, and I think the last thing that I'm going to do is throw in a ceiling, which I've already started, and it's pretty much just a extension of the roof, except it's a little bit, oh no, I thought it was a little bit higher. Nope. Well, that's actually good. So it's not a little bit higher, which means it's better because it's a little bit more flush with the ceiling. So it looks a bit more natural, I guess. So we're just going to throw in a ceiling, and that's pretty much going to be the end of this interior for now. I'll probably work on it more, but right now, since there's not really any purpose to having it, since we're never going to be going up here, since there's no way up here, I'm going to go pretty light on the interior for now. Maybe we'll fix this place up in the future, but right now, there's not really much point to having an interior. There we go. Alrighty then, folks, so I'm actually really proud of how these beds came together. I think that the fence gates just sort of link up quite nicely here, and the ceiling, again, it's just very flush with the roof, so I think this whole bedroom's pretty nice. It's pretty compact in here since there isn't a ton of space, but then again, I don't think we're going to be coming up here very much, and I don't even think the Lord of the Land would be spending much time in here in the first place, because they're probably going to be spending more time downstairs making decisions for the whole of the Kingdom of Westhold. So I doubt that they're going to be spending loads of time in here, so that's probably also why this is a fairly simplistic interior in here. Just a couple beds. We could probably have some nightstands in here or something, but that will probably be added off camera. Just a couple nightstands with like scaffolding or something. But I'm fairly happy with how this whole place turned out. It's just a nice use of the space, and it also just adds to the lore of the place, because it gives the, you know, the king or the lord or somewhere, you know, whoever rules this castle. D-Nuts is lost, but yeah, it gives whoever owns the castle a bit of, it gives them a place to live rather than just living in the residential tower over there. So it just makes them a bit more special, of like a character, like a fictional character in my mind. But now that we've sealed up this hole in the wall, this pretty much, not fully, but this pretty much completes the castle project. Castle Westhold, or whatever the name shall be. I think that'll probably be tomorrow. So final name submissions, please submit them down in the comments or whatever. Submit them, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And I will make a vote for the name of the town. But I think with the completion of the castle, we are going to have a quick cinematic for the completion of the castle, sort of just celebrating the completion of the castle, and then we'll wrap up the episode. Alright folks, so after that short, albeit very poorly recorded cinematic little section there, this is where we're going to wrap up this episode, and therefore the castle building project. I am so happy that I was able to do this InfinityCraft season. I learned so much about castle building and castle building techniques, and of course the castle isn't perfect. That's what learning is for. You make mistakes and you learn from them next time. So next time I build a castle, it'll probably look much better than this one, and also probably be in a much better location than this one. And yeah, it's just about learning from your mistakes. And I think the major thing that held this castle back was that we put it in a valley, and that just kind of, or that I put it in a valley. I tend to say we to sort of reference you and me, since you are the viewer and, you know, you're kind of participating in the video. But I put it in a valley, and it kind of constrained the space a bit, but it still looks awesome, and I am still so happy with how this whole castle has turned out. And we still have to do the underground, but that will probably be done mostly off camera, because it's not very exciting. It's just going to be a lot of tunnel digging and maybe putting a few rooms in there. And of course I'll do progress updates for what I've done, you know, off camera, but for the most part it's going to be just a lot of off camera work. So the underground isn't really going to be part of the castle building like mini series that we did for this InfinityCraft season. Basically, this, I kind of like to think of this as a mini series, but I'm just really happy with how this thing turned out, and I think it was really fun making all the videos about it. Sort of, it kind of felt like we were building the castle together, which was really cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the building of this castle, and I also hope you guys enjoyed today's InfinityCraft episode. My name, as always, has been VoidDoctor. Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.